Hello, Boris Pravisham here. Welcome back to the Nidd Whitelist server. I know last episode I said I was going to work on sort of the like the dock down into the industrial area. Actually, I said I was going to work on the industrial area, but I think I'm going to sort of reorder how I'm doing things, partly because I want the dock done first. It sort of doesn't make sense to have that industrial area unless I can get stuff into it, so I'll work out the dock on the top first. However, I won't be doing that this episode because, as you will see sometime in the next few days, I just recorded another episode, a collaboration with Anubis, which, as you can see, included pistons, welders, and airtight hangar doors, just as a a teaser into what we were doing. But we're working on one of his projects with him. I'm intending to go around and work with, or like do a collaboration with all of the different members on the server, at least all the active ones. There's a couple who, like Drakol, isn't particularly interested in playing Space Engineers until the multiplayer update is done, so it won't be quite everyone, but all the active people I'll record like a collaboration with, and I started with Anubis, which wasn't planned. It's just that he ran out of time to record his normal episode, so he roped me into helping him to get something out, and we managed to build quite a lot in a short space of time to get his ship constructor thing, big welding machine, up and running. So I'm just going to work on the outside of this and just talk a little bit back to the the talky episodes that I do. The thing that I wanted to talk about was a public Space Engineers server. I guess I haven't really talked about this, but the Land of Nidd server is no more. It's been no more for quite some time. The reasoning is sort of long-winded, and yeah, but the main thrust of it was that Space Engineers wasn't really it wasn't really ready for sort of a large-scale server. We sort of had to go through workaround after workaround to get it to a point where people could actually play on there, without requiring a supercomputer to run the place, and that plus I don't think anyone. See, I'm having that trouble more and more. These blocks, oops, right there, apparently they exist, because when I was recording with the Anubis just before, they were showing up on his end but not on mine, so that's why it's doing that. They're just not showing up on mine for some reason. That doesn't go there. How am I going to do this? Guess I'm going to have to bring that out. So the Land of Nidd was, if you don't know what that is, it was sort of like a comedy role-play Space Engineers. Like it was a public server, and it had some really brilliant things happening sort of early on, and there was even like catalogs for the like the what do you call them? Businesses. That's it. There were like businesses running. There were people producing catalogs for. I'm just going to bring these down because it's annoying. Catalogs for their businesses, and it was a lot of fun, but it was short-lived. The server life was pretty poor. It got very slow very quickly, and we were too slow. Like I was too slow in reacting, and sort of getting it reset. Sort of just hung around hoping for a miracle that it wouldn't, but it ended up with too many people. I think I just did all that wrong, didn't I? Yeah. Just ended up with too many people being unable to play, and so a whole swathe of people left. Well, I guess I should talk about the length of, like, the project's length. I don't think I don't know if that looks any good or not. I'll keep extending it. So that's one thing that I have noticed with sandbox games. When you have like a linear narrative-based game, you know when the end is. It has a very defined experience, so the developers know exactly what, or can know with a fair degree of confidence, exactly what everyone's going to be seeing at exactly what time, and they're able to plan around that. With a sandbox game, it's just here are all the tools, go have fun. So kind of like what people are experiencing with Minecraft, you'll notice a lot of other YouTubers, and I went through this a year and a half, 2 years, maybe more. I can't remember the timing, but yeah, I went through just sort of burning out on Minecraft, and I still really like Minecraft, but the thought of going back and playing it seriously just isn't, it's not compelling. It's not really something that I want to do. And then recording it, well, that's even, yeah, that definitely won't be happening. Having a regular series where I actually do things, that's, yeah, I don't think I could do that. And that happens with sandbox games. Even if you really like them, the inevitability is that you will slowly just grow to not necessarily dislike it, but be bored of it. Even if it's a great game that you really like, it's hard to keep the spark going. And yeah, so that sort of applies to any long-term project that we do as well, with like the Land of Nidd as a prime example. That doesn't, or isn't intended to last forever, and just like a sandbox game, the inevitability is that it will just peter out. That's how everything will go, and that's kind of annoying, because to me it feels like kind of like a failure. It's just sort of petered out and left it to die. But I don't think there is any alternative to that. That's what's going to happen to everything. If you try and play it out in your mind, that's what happens. Oh, can I get that in there? It's going to be blocked off. I mean, we can't see it anyway. I'll fill it in the next time. These are supposed to be curved under. So there. Of course, that's not something that I wish to do intentionally, but anyway, the grand idea for the Land of Nidd server isn't possible. I don't really want to try it again just yet, and I've always been hesitant about just starting a server, like just having a server for the sake of having a server. I've always thought that if we're going to add another to the list of hundreds, then it has to be worthwhile. There has to be a different idea behind it. But the problem with that is that everyone has their preferences, and this is another thing with the Land of Nidd. I just had a barrage of different people wanting different settings on the world, which is understandable. Everyone plays with their own settings. There's no right or wrong. Everyone has their preferences, and that was sort of a very obvious example of not being able to please everybody. And I had these plans. I had it all. So I still have all the notes written out of all the different sort of little mini events. I've completely forgotten what I was doing. I'll go back out and then remember, and then come back in. Yeah, I had like all these little mini events that I was going to do on the Land of Nidd. I had sort of all these. I think I had about 5 or 6 creative worlds with these creations that I was going to bring in and host, but sort of every time it came to do them, there was something else that was more pressing. That's right, I was doing that stuff, which I can't really get to. I think I'll clear that out later. That's not going to be. That's going to be even more boring to watch than this. What was I talking about? This is all your fault. You made me go off on a tangent. Just not being able to meet everyone's expectations becomes frustrating, because you end up sort of darting from thing to thing to thing. That's one thing that Mir has been really good at. I don't think you'll mind me saying that when it started with Niddsville, which was sort of that's where he cut his teeth with adminning. It was hard to start with. He sort of, in a very short space of time, learnt all of this, and now I think he's rather good. So that I just present him with my ideas, and he tells me which ones don't work, which is great. So I don't know. He's also sort of like, when I've been at the moment, we've got the Nidd server up and running. So Nidd is just a Space Engineer server, just with some fairly generic settings. There's nothing special. None of us play on it. None of us advertise it. But apparently there's 2 or 3 people that play on there. I joined by accident when I was supposed to be joining this server a couple of days ago, and there was indeed quite a large station there. That was the only thing that I saw, but it seemed like there were others as well. So it seems to be getting some use, and that's, I guess, what this sort of rambling's about. Whether or not people would want another Space Engineers server, because I see the appeal of just having a place to hang out, where you kind of know everyone. The amount of people playing will probably be a problem. I don't think there will be sort of like a critical mass to make it worthwhile, but at the moment we've got a server just sitting there, not being used by anybody. By the way, I did try this and it didn't quite work. So I'll finish this off around the halfway point and sort of step back and see what it looks like. Yeah, I don't think we're going to reach something that I would describe as sort of a busy server, but we're a small group, so that's to be expected. I don't think at any one time we could have more than 10 people on a server, and that's at its best, so we have to kind of factor that in to the planning. Yeah, but my question is whether people actually would want that. Do they want just a standard Space Engineers server administered like a normal Space Engineers server would be? Nothing special, just, you know, the normal at this date and time the server will be wiped and all that kind of stuff, because we can't have permanent worlds. This server has maybe 5 people that sort of come on here regularly, and it's handling it really well. Where's the entrance to my ship? It's under here. It's handling it really well at the moment, and I expect it to continue. At the moment I'm not getting 30 frames a second out here, but there's a lot of unwelded scaffolding. When Sal came through and welded it all up for me, because apparently she's taken over the role of the welding fairy, yeah, then it jumped up to 50 again, so I'm hoping that'll continue. Once I've welded up that next section, that it will be back to what it more likely should be. This takes forever. But there's no oxygen in here still. I've run out of ice. That's my problem. Okay, what's happening? Is the oxygen not going up? Nope. Oxygen's going down. That's great. So there's no bottles left in there. It's alright. I don't need to close this. Out we go. I guess to continue the rambling, is if we were to have a server and to administer it properly, for lack of a better term, I just need to get rid of some of these steel plates. Would you play on that regularly? And if not, what would you want? Like, if you do want a Space Engineers server to kind of call home, I guess, what is the sort of thing that you would want if you've managed to make it this far through the video? I guess there's not really much more to say than that. It's been I kind of bumbled around on this because I don't really know what to say, because like Mia has sort of come to both Anubis and I. We sort of discuss things. We don't have the weekly meeting like we used to, but I think we're going to start that up again. It's mostly just because we did that on a Sunday night, my time, Sunday morning US, Sunday midday EU. Yeah, and we started recording at that time, so we kind of stopped missing I kept missing the meeting time. So I think we'll start that up again, because that was useful, just to sort of touch base every week and see what was happening, what everyone was doing. But yeah, Mia's sort of come back to us to say that there's people that want to play on there, but are annoyed that it's not sort of administered properly. And when I hear that, I straight away think there's a whole bunch of people with different ideas of what it should be, and no matter what decision is made, it's going to be the wrong one for the majority of people. So I kind of wanted to extend the offer now to sort of speak up and see if anything fits with what we can do. But putting that aside, to briefly talk about, like, this server is really fun to play on. I think this is one of the best way to do Space Engineers, so long as you... I guess we could add in sort of elements of, you know, fighting to this if we wanted to, like PvP, but this is more of a building server. The reason that only YouTubers were invited on there, I don't know if anyone's actually miffed by that, but I kind of felt a bit guilty the entire time. Why am I have to weld this with a ship, because I have to get all the stuff underneath it. Makes no sense to be grinding down everything I've just welded. Yeah, I've kind of felt guilty that this is just a place for YouTubers only. That kind of felt wrong to me, because the Nidd isn't a place just for YouTubers. It's not some sort of weird fan club. It's it's supposed to be for the everyday gamer. That's the point. And I've always felt bad doing things just for YouTubers. This one, that's kind of why I've been referring to and kind of formed this sort of subgroup called the Nidd Tubers, which I think, at least I first heard Nordic call them that, sort of that portmanteau. But I don't know if he came up with that, but that's where I got it from, the Nidd Tubers. Just sort of a group that sort of, in a more official capacity, they were the Nidd's YouTubers. They were the ones that sort of represented, just because someone's YouTubing doesn't make them an admin. It's completely separate to that. And this, I guess, is a bit more of a personal project, and I mean personal on the count of everyone involved. That's why it's not public, and it doesn't have a sort of wider whitelist, so including like all the people that used to be on it, because recording, like playing for YouTube, is different to just playing. There's a lot of annoying, like things that are just straight out annoying to other people. You know, like, don't fly over there. That's in my next week's episode. If you fly over there, you'll spoil it. And you know, can we stop playing for a second and wait for me to get my recording set up so that I can record this conversation? And really annoying stuff like that. that kind of doesn't suit to having the people who just want to play, because it just doesn't really fit in, which is why this is YouTuber only, but I think Mia's the only exception, because he's just here. That's the way it works. He hasn't actually come on the server, I don't think. Yeah, I just sort of wanted to point out that the Nidd isn't a YouTubing group, and I don't, even though like lately I've been playing a lot on servers that are kind of restricted access, and that kind of, like, all the recording sessions I've been doing have been with sort of a similar group in private servers, that kind of thing, and I do feel a bit bad about that. But when I've got restricted time, it's all about whether or not I'll be able to do something, because when I did like the Weekend Madness series, which was a long time ago now, where I just got random people to apply, and then I pretty much just let everyone record something. We just played mini games, that kind of thing. I'd sometimes have to record, 3 separate lots of that with different people until I got one that was actually worthwhile kind of watching. because of course people just want to play. They don't want to mess around with all the sort of pretentious crap that you're doing. But it didn't necessarily make for a video that was worthwhile watching, which is kind of why that series came to an end. I wanted to start it back up again, but it's a time factor. If I've got limited time, so if I'm recording something, then I want to be able to use it, so I just fill it with the same people that I know will work in games that I know will work. So that's something that I hopefully will sort of branch out and have a bit more diversity. That's what I'm starting on here. See, Nordic Beast and Spider-Man, and to a certain extent Sal. She's new, but she's already got like a fairly significant sort of subscriber base, that kind of thing. So she had her own thing going before she was around here. But Spider-Man and Nordic Beast have sort of started with this group, and they're both recording on this server. Like, the date I'm recording this, Nordic Beast released his first episode a couple of days ago, Spider-Man released his first episode, and these are, I think, relatively new things for these guys, and the episodes have turned out really good. They're good to watch, and they sort of show you what the other, of course, the one time I want them, they're not on. But all those specs out there, there's recordings of them on YouTube. So I'll put the links in the description for them. But that's sort of my first port of call, is to branch out and do some more collabs with the other YouTubers that I don't get to record with as much, because, or mostly because of time zones. To record with me, you have to be up. They have to be up early, which isn't necessarily ideal. So hopefully you'll be interested enough to go over there and have a look at them, because they're hopefully they sort of are motivated enough to keep going, because it's all about whether or not you enjoy it, and it's not necessarily an enjoyable thing to do, but we'll see, because I'm really enjoying it. Anyway, I'm just rambling about a whole bunch of nonsense. So next time, I'm going to spend the next 3 days or so working on the stuff that I talked about at the start. So that thing up there, the dock, that's what I'll do next, and I'll sort of record it the way that I was, do a little bit and then work for a few days and then come back and see what I've done. That's my plan for the next one. It'll probably go wrong and Anubis will make me do something else, but that's the plan at least. So thank you all for watching this nonsense. I will see you again soon. Goodbye.